Nice to have you on the line. Congratulations on your people deciding that they want to have you in
Yeah,
office one more time.
yeah, that's right. I've just returned from the battlefield.
Battlefield.
Yeah, of course. Elections are like war, isn't it? That's what it is. No, I don't mean war, which is a physical war, but some a mental war. Yeah, but I'm glad and I'm grateful to God that it's over and it's as peaceful as we wanted it to be. So there were a few problems elsewhere. I'm sure it's largely been peaceful, and that's what we want.
Well, you're not the only winner from this whole election. In fact, your party has won and has won big. And so we'll soon be taking over as the incoming government. The transition process is underway. And I'm sure one of the things you're paying attention to is the type of economy that you'll be taking over. I wanted to take your own views on what type of economy you'll be taking over. But first, let me draw attention to what the finance minister is saying. I guess you heard me when I talk about what he said they are handing over to you. That is an economy in a good shape and can only be better. Do you have any issues with that?
I have a serious issue with that. You know, the finance minister. First of all, good morning to your listeners. And what the finance minister is saying, I mean, first of all, he's supposed to come to Parliament and present this estimate, which is up until now has refused to do. Now he's walking around, basically talking to journalists and all that, instead of coming to the House, which is a house of record, to actually, state the real state of the economy. He's walking around and doing propaganda. Now, this country or this economy is actually a serious deception. What the MPP government is doing now, as they have lost the election massively, based on the economy. This election was lost on the economy. It was lost on the high cost of living. It was lost on high inflation. It was lost on unemployment. It was lost on debt. And all the things that he's touting, around that the country is doing well. I mean, Ghanaians must be incredibly naive, if that is the case, to vote out the MPP if they were doing such, if they're doing well as he is telling us. And economic success does not happen overnight. So just a few weeks ago, a couple of weeks ago, you have been rejected massively because the economy is what people feel in their pocket. And then a couple of days or a week later, you turn around and you are talking about handing over a strong economy. I can see what he's doing. What they are trying to do is to artificially paint a picture of the economy doing well and crystallize those figures and then wait for a couple of years down the line and start using those figures against the NDC, that this is the economy we handed over to you and look at how you are taking it. Because things are so bad that Senna is going to get worse before it gets better. So, under the new administration...
Things are so bad, they are going to get worse before they get better.
Absolutely. Where they have found us to, for us to be able to, the economy has not plateaued yet in terms of basically it's not doing well. So it needs to plateau, and then it takes like a kind of U-turn and start going up there. And that will happen when the policies of the NDC under His Excellency John Dramani start kicking in. So it's not like a magic one where the NDC will come in tomorrow and the economy is going to get better. I can actually tell you that without any doing of the new government that is coming in, but the bad administration and policies of the previous government, the economy has not plateaued yet. It's going to get a bit worse before it gets better. And what they are going to do the day after handing over is that we handed a good economy to you, a strong economy to you on Monday, and the economy is bad on Tuesday as a result of their own poor administration of the economy. All Amin Adams is telling you, it's not a full picture. That we are running a skewed economy. Ghana economy, when you do debt to GDP ratio, is now over 100%. The real debt to GDP is over 100%, not the 80% some people are telling you. What does that tell you? It tells you that Ghana is a bankrupt nation trying to get out of bankruptcy. It cannot be a strong economy. A country, if we were a strong economy, why haven't we paid our debt since 2022? We have unilaterally stopped paying our debt. If you do that, you can easily achieve what is it called? A growth rate of 7.2 in the third quarter. So now let me tell you what the real rate this year is. When you take the growth rate of 2024, first quarter 4.8, second quarter 7%, and the third quarter which is 7.2. So you are looking at, if you average that to project the last quarter, then the last quarter is supposed to come in somewhere around maybe 6.8 or something. Now, if you do an average of that of the year, you are looking at about 6.3%. If you discount that by putting in, since we've not been paying our debt since 2022, and the projection for our debt, if you look at 2022 budget, was about 50 billion. That was the debt servicing. Don't forget our debt is now over about 800 billion. But when you do the debt servicing should have been around 50 billion a year, increasing by maybe about 5% or something annually. So even if you just average it, that our debt servicing from 2022 is 50 billion 2022, 50 billion 2023, 50 billion 2024, which we have not paid, you will realize that if you look at debt to GDP, which are nominal figures, the debt is nominal, the GDP is nominal, that takes you over 100%. You will realize that the figures I'm quoting to you are what they call the real GDP, which means that some discounting of inflation and other things have gone in. And if you are accounting for your debt, our GDP will not be more than 4% on the average. So the GDP of 6.3, as you see, if you factor in paying your debt from 2022, your GDP on the average in real terms will be around 4%. That is the economy we are inheriting. And that is the true state of the economy, not what Amin Adams is posting. Another thing, you have realized that in the last month or so, from about November the 8th or something, the city that has been depreciating throughout the year, all of us started appreciating. They realized that they could be out of power. Let me tell you what has caused the city's appreciation, and nobody should get excited. Nobody should be fooled about the economy that is being painted to us, because it is worse than that. Now, what happened is that we have about, as they claim, we have reserves, international reserves of about 8 billion. They have decided to use the international reserves to support the currency to artificially depreciate the dollar and appreciate the city. And that's what they've been doing since November. So the city value that is being quoted, that I think went to, was it 15 or 14 or something? 14, 50 something. It's artificially being held. There is nothing happening that is causing the city to be like that. Because in November, that is when people, from October, November, it's when people demand the dollar to be able to go and buy things for Christmas and all that. So ideally, you will expect the city to appreciate. But because they were artificially holding the cedi, if you go to the Bank of Ghana to buy the dollar, it is cheaper than you get it in the market. If you buy the dollar from the market, the price you get the dollar at is the real exchange rate. What you get in Bank of Ghana is an artificial exchange rate being held artificially by the central bank in pumping our international reserve. So they have crystallized to the nation that your international reserve is about 8 billion. So that is what has stuck in the mind of Ghanaians, that our reserves now are 3.5 months of import cover instead of 2.5. Now they are depleting this 8 billion in supporting the city, so that by the time we get to 7 January, this reserve will not be 8 million, but that's the picture they would have painted in your head, because they would have depleted it. And since it is not sustainable, what is going to sustain the city from now until January is the inflow, and that is the people who are coming in for holidays, Ghanaians living abroad and tourists and all that who are coming in, as it happens normally in Christmas. Therefore, some foreign currency is coming into the system. And that foreign currency that is coming into the system is helping the city to stabilize, but it's only a short-term stabilization. In January, when people need dollars again to go out there and buy things, when corporates need to repatriate their profit, when the government has changed hands, and Ghana will, for the first time, start paying the debt, because the external debt restructuring that was done, Ghana is supposed to start paying its debt in January. So all the money the MPP government has not paid from 2022 has now been structured for the new incoming John Mahama administration to start paying. The moment we start paying that money, the currency will begin to depreciate again, because dollar will be demanded or will be needed to start paying this debt. So this is the trap the MPP has set up for the NDC government, that the moment we come in, the West State, I was telling you that things will get worse before they start getting better, will begin to kick in, and MPP will be standing with a record they've left, a deceptive record which they have left us, that our economy is growing by 6.3. How come our economy is growing on the average of 6.3, but that economy or this economy is not creating jobs, and our unemployment rate is now towards 15%? Is this what they call the strong economy? How come that inflation got to a dizzy height of 54 and is getting to 21 or whatever, and we are praising ourselves when the nation's target of inflation is plus or minus, what is it called, 8 plus or minus 1? That is the inflation target of the central bank. All of a sudden, 21 is a strong economy. It's a resilient economy. When inflation is supposed to, when you are a mediocre government, you measure yourself with mediocre numbers. Because if you are doing what you are supposed to be doing to hitting 8% target, you will not be saying that 21 is good. Because you are measuring yourself against 54%. Fuel prices have just gone up. Is this the strong economy? Is this the resilient economy? Ghana's economy is a very fragile economy. And the slightest of any external shock, we could be worse than what happened to us in COVID. So it's a real deception that is going on at the moment. The country is not paying its debt. Therefore, you cannot tell me you are recording a growth rate of 7.2 and an average growth rate of 6.3. If you should be paying your debt, you will knock about 2 percentage points off your growth if you look at the quantum of debt servicing we have to be doing. Your economy will be growing between 3 to 4%. 4% maximum is what your economy should be growing. Not the 6.3 they are telling us, or the quarterly figures, they are giving us. So nobody should be fooled with what Amin Adams is doing. Nobody should be fooled by the last minute antics of this government. And NDC incoming government or NDC to point this out strongly so that Ghanaians don't register this in their head that there's any strong economy is being left with anyone. All the savings that they claim they made when they restructured the debt, they are just in the sky. It's not something anybody is going to realize if we don't do the things you're supposed to do. You have restructured your debt, yet you are not paying. That itself might change your structure. You are on the IMF program. You have already consumed almost 2 billion of that 3 billion money. And you expect the new government to work with only 1 billion, one half of what you are supposed to do to return the economy into about 55% of debt to GDP or around about that figure. We are nowhere near it. And you say you are handing over a strong, a resilient and a stable economy. When your city is not stable and you are artificially holding the city, then I watch and see what will happen to the city in January. This city is being artificially held. The Bank of Ghana figure is not the market figure. The real figure you buy the dollar at is what you get, what goods. It is artificially being held by our reserves of 8 billion, which will be depleted by the time we get into January and NDC under His Excellency John Dramani comes to power. Amin Adams is I don't know what's going on with him, but he has joined the bandwagon and propagating the same deception. And he's even doing it more now than even Kweku Ricketts did, and telling us lies and pulling wool over our eyes and trying to position the economy as if the economy is doing well. But sir, I'm telling you, Ghana's economy is not doing well. Ghana is still a bankrupt state that is trying to get itself out of the hole that we dug for ourselves with the help of the IMF. We have not achieved half of what should be achieving in IMF, but we have already consumed 2/3 of the money for the program. It is for that reason that I think His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is right that we will have to enhance. I even use the word, what is it called, renegotiate. But when I say renegotiate, I don't mean that the current IMF program can be renegotiated. It's far into the program with almost 1 billion left to renegotiate. But we can do some enhancement, which itself down the road will be some kind of renegotiation, but not the current IMF program. For us to be able to get more resources and then use that to leverage in getting other people to bring resources, not only through borrowing, but actually through investment into the country, that people have confidence. As a new administration, people will give you a grace period, people will give you the benefit of the doubt, and all those things will bring confidence in your economy. This country today, Sana, let me tell you, is being held by treasury bills. Ghana today is being held together by treasury bills, which will become a problem down the road, because now the treasury bills that we are doing is over and above what we normally would do, because the only way we are financing our deficit today is through short-term borrowing. We are not getting money from the bond market, as you know, external bond market. The domestic bond market is a disaster after the restructuring and the haircut. So nobody will give you money in the domestic market as bonds. Everybody is putting their money in something they know they can get their money in a short time. Nobody is doing a 1 year, more than 1 year instrument. Everybody is doing less than a year's instrument. 3 months, 6 months, and that's what they're doing. Now, what that is happening to government is that fresh money is coming into the government at the moment, which is not being serviced. Because normally with treasury bills, you take it out there, and by the time 3 months is done and it's matured, the old debt would have been paid, and a new one would have been taken. At the moment, we are borrowing more than we are maturing the treasury bills. Therefore, there are fresh flows all the time being taken. If you have about 4 billion out there, about half a billion will be retired in terms of mature, but 4 billion will be about new loans. Because when you take a 3-month loan, which is a 3-month treasury, it will mature in 3 months' time before you pay it off. But if in between on a weekly basis you are doing new treasuries, those are going to be fresh money, which will not be covered by the maturity of the ones that you have out there. And that is the economy that we are in at the moment. Ghana is now a hand-to-mouth economy. There is nothing planned for the future until John Mahama's government comes in. MPP is just doing, as they call it, what is it called? Buy as you go or whatever. That's the government we are at the moment. There is nothing there. The government is hollow. This government is near collapse. And we will see that in a short week's time. But then they are trying to position themselves to blame this on the new NDC government about crystallizing certain figures that are deceptive and giving that to Ghanaians as the real economy. And they will soon be found out.
You just created a picture of a minefield, sort of, when it comes to this economy.
It is absolutely a minefield. It is a minefield that this government has created. And they've thrown the mines all over the place, hoping that NDC will be stepping on it and things will be blowing up. This is what they are doing. They have started their campaign for 2028. That's what they are doing. They have failed Ghanaians, and now they are beginning to paint the picture. Then you and I, God willing, we have long life and good health. You are a young man, you will still be here. And you will then see them come back with this bogus number somewhere around 2028 and say that this is the economy we left you and what has happened. Ghanaians will have forgotten the disastrous economy we have lived in and the decimation of the MPP government through the election, which is a declaration of exactly what is not going on well in this country, which in a couple of days' time, Amin Adams has turned around and President President-elect Mahama, said something during his last debate, which resonated with me, when I was living in the U.S. When President Clinton was in power, and President Mahama quoted President Clinton, is the economy stripping. It is exactly the situation we are in. Is Ghana's economy stripping? Or who is stripping here? They are painting a very rosy picture that does not exist. Then, the basics of economics is in your pocket. And if it's not your pocket, it's not there. What they are telling us is a deception. None of it is happening. Ghana is not growing the third quarter at 7.2 or whatever they are talking about. And the average growth is not 6%. I'm telling you, Ghana's growth at the moment is between 3 and 4. What IMF is measuring where we are coming from. If IMF tell you Ghana's economy is improving, they are not telling you that Ghana's economy is really improving. What they are telling you is that where they took this economy, it is better with their programs than where we were. It does not mean that inflation is not high. Inflation is still high, and food inflation is still the bulk of it. It does not mean that energy prices are coming down because petrol prices have just gone up, was it today or yesterday? It doesn't mean your exchange rate has seen the light at the end of the tunnel. It means that they are artificially holding the exchange rate with reserve. They are pumping dollars into the system. In the last few weeks, this government has sold more dollars into the system to be able to hold, because people were going out in November to bring things in. So they were pumping dollars senselessly into the economy so that the city does not depreciate further. And they are continuing. They are being salvaged short term, by the inflows coming from Ghanaians and foreigners coming to Ghana for holidays. The moment the holidays are over, the dollar is going to get out of hands again. At that time, there will not be enough reserves. And the new NDC administration coming in cannot come and start pumping dollars into the system because it will not be there. And what will happen is that the city will begin to depreciate, and the MPP will put that on the NDC. But as a result of their reckless running of the economy now, that's where we are. You have rightly described it as a minefield, and that is what it is. Boomer trap, or whatever you call it. If you step on it, your legs will get blown up. That's what the MPP is doing.
I see. So it's a tricky situation for the NDC.
Absolutely. And I want us, the NDC, to wake up on this tricky boomer trap or whatever that these guys are setting up for us. We need to wake up to it because that's exactly what they are doing. And I want to say it loud and louder to my colleagues for us to wake up and see what the MPP is trying to, the trap MPP is setting up. And we have to come out in much stronger terms to diffuse this artificial economy that they are trying to crystallize and use it against us in the near future. Nothing of what they are talking about, Senna, I can tell you as an economist, is actually happening. Yes, there may be some improvements before the IMF came in, and the IMF can take credit that their policies are working. Of course, they were able to force us not to spend so much money during the election. So that itself is a good thing. But the economy, as being described by Amin Adams as a strong economy, it is nothing near strong. This is a strong economy. Saying the economy is resilient. Resilient against what? The smallest of external shocks. The smallest of external shocks will blow Ghana over beyond the COVID disaster. So there's no resilience here. The economy is stable. Stable in which direction? Is your unemployment stable? Is your GDP really doing? What is this country doing that we are getting a GDP growth? Agriculture is a disaster. If our care is not taken, we are going to have some level of famine, it has already been alluded by the agriculture minister. And for that reason, they wanted to share some money to farmers. Is this the strong economy we are talking about? Is this the resilient economy we are talking about? Does Amin Adams understand what a strong economy is? Does he know what a resilient economy looks like? We are in an unstable situation. We cannot hold our currency for long. What is happening at the moment, and I'm telling you, it's artificial. If we were paying our debt, the dollar, as I've told you some time ago, would have been around 20 cedis to the dollar. But because we are not paying our debt, that's why the dollar has not escalated to that point. And even where we are now, where they are struggling, where we are not paying our debt, the dollar is being artificially held by the Bank of Ghana, who are pumping money unnecessarily, which is something they have always. The Bank of Ghana, instead of allowing the fiscal side, that is the Ministry of Finance or the government, to deal with fiscal issues, which are the problems confronting the country, they rather go and use monetary policy to try and address fiscal problems. And that is why the Bank of Ghana has been declaring losses, because they are doing activities pretending to be, pursuing monetary policy. But we are in that situation not because of monetary, negligence, but because of fiscal indiscipline and fiscal recklessness. and they throw dollars at it, thinking that the problem will go away, only to come out being worse. I tell you what, by the time NDC comes to power, we will have less than 3.5 months import of cover as we are being told, because they would have depleted the international reserve, and it would have moved from the 7 or 7 to 8 billion that we have to probably about 5 or 6. And you will realize that they will tell you that the import cover is not 2.5, and it's the cost of the NDC that has just arrived yesterday. That's the picture of the economy. Don't be fooled. No Ghanaian should be fooled with what Amin Adams is saying. We are being conned. They have set us a trap, the NDC government. And I hope that we begin to see that very quickly and address it. NDC incoming government must address what the MPP is trying to do before they leave office. This is the greatest deception that the MPP wants to hand over to Ghana.
I see. What about Kweku Ricketts Hagan? You are a former Deputy Minister of Finance, former Deputy Minister of Trade. Why are you not the person to address that issue?
Well, I'm addressing it through your media right now. Amin Adams said this, I think, on Tuesday or something.
Yes.
Today is Thursday. I have talked somewhere else in the last day or so. Maybe I haven't been heard clearly. So I'm with you this morning. And I know people listen. And I know NDC people in particular listen to your station. So I want NDC to know. I've had some discussion with President Mahama in the past on the matter of debt and other issues. So President Mahama is aware. But I want the NDC, most of the people who will become ministers and occupying different positions, to realize what the MPP is doing to us. They are setting us a trap, and we must address it and let Ghanaians know what the minefield that the MPP is creating. So, Sana, I'm addressing it. Your media is a powerful one to start addressing this issue. And I will be talking about this until 7th January. Because this is what is going on. And, it's like we are saying that, they are leaving office. Let them talk any rubbish they want to go. But they are setting up a trap which we must not fall for. They are setting up a trap which Ghanaians must not fall for it, because they say Ghanaians have a short memory. So it's going to happen that 7th January, even in February, they will be telling you that the NDC is destroying the economy. Senator, record what I'm telling you today, and we'll be having this conversation not in a very near future, not too long at all, because all these figures that has been painted to us will not be the figures when NDC comes to power and try and unravel the real situation and get the real economy. So these numbers will be revised down, and they are going to tell us that this is not the economy we left. But meanwhile, that is the economy that they are living at. It is the greatest deception. And I'm saying on your thing again, NDC, because it's not President Mahama alone that's going to be running the government. He will be the head of that government. People will be appointed to positions of minister of this, minister of that. People will be in parliament, in leadership positions that will have something to do with basically giving the President Mahama the legitimate mandate in parliament to be able to push policies. All of us to wake up to what is happening at the moment. And what is happening is the greatest deception of Ghana's economy. In the last few weeks, and Amin Adams is doing a great job at it, a great deceptive job at this. And Ghanaians should not be fooled. I say it again. We should not be fooled by what Amin Adams is doing. Economy is not growing at the rate. I'm telling you that if it's not a hard calculation to do, if you know your debt to GDP, if you can tell what your debt servicing is in a year, you can calculate your real GDP very easily. And that real GDP is between 3 to 4%, not on the average of 6.3%. It is nowhere near there. Ghana has not recovered. We may be recovering, but we haven't recovered. This is not what you call a strong economy. An unemployed, littered economy, you are calling it a strong economy. The strong comes from where? Where does it come from? We can't feed ourselves. You call it a strong economy. Prices are exorbitant. Energy prices are going through the roof. Today, you go to the market and you are buying currency at this. You spend money to go and bring things into the country. You sell them and you can't get your capital back. Capital is being eroded. People are out of business. Pensioners are dying. Is this a strong economy? I want to see a weak one then. If this is a strong economy, I would love to see how a weak economy looks like.
Oh, thank you very much for speaking to us.
My pleasure.
Kweku Ricketts Hagan is Member of Parliament for Cape Coast South, former Deputy Minister for Finance, former Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry. A couple of you have been talking in response to what he's saying. I don't know why you think that responding to you on radio is not enough. I think one of the biggest, and in this one, let me address it. And the biggest challenge